Welcome to Sa Majesty Easy World of Science. Here I'm using the real human bones and models which are movable to teach you the landmarks and the special features of the bones that makes up your lower limbs. Remember, your lower limbs is part of the appendicular skeleton. Remember to watch my video here in this channel about your upper limbs. Here we are using colorful images to teach you the parts that makes up your appendicular skeleton. In this video, we will consider the special features of the hip bones and the femur. Also available for you in this channel is your axial skeleton, having the skull in detail together with the vertebral column. Remember to subscribe. Positions of the bones in the body. This is anterior view, where they are covered by the muscles and soft tissue. This is the posterior view, showing the buttock muscles, showing you the articulation between the round head of the femur and the acetabulum of the hip bone. That is the head of the femur articulating with the acetabulum. That is the neck. That is the greater trochanter, which is lateral. Turning it around, turning the model to show you the lesser trochanter, which is medially located. That's the lesser trochanter. Greater trochanter, that's the trochanteric line. Ischial tuberosity, superior pubic ramus, and the Ilium. Anterior inferior iliac spine, the limbus or the margin of the acetabulum. That is still the neck of the femur. Closer view of the greater trochanter of the right femur superiorly. Let's go down to the distal end of the femur and see the landmarks at the tibiofemoral joints. That's the knee joint. That's the patellar groove and the patella itself. Medial condyle and medial epicondyle, showing the medial side of the distal end of the femur. That is the lateral condyle, the lateral side. That's the tibia, forming the tibiofemoral joint. That's your knee joint. You can see the position of the cruciate ligament. Come on the back side. One of the landmarks at the posterior part is the intercondylar fossa, which is found in between the medial and lateral condyle of the distal end of the femur. Zooming it in, that's the intercondylar fossa, the lateral condyle, the medial condyle. Then you can see that the fibula has nothing to do with the tibiofemoral joint. Okay, we have the lower limb here. The lower limb have the hip bone, two hip bones, the left and right. I'll show you one here. Then the femur, which is the longest bone, the femur, and then the two bones, the tibia and the fibula. This is the tibia. That makes up the lower limb. Take them one after the other. Okay. This is the femur. Let's find how to know the posterior and anterior parts of the bone. We have some features that will distinguish the posterior from the anterior parts of the bone. So a close look at this, you have to see this the Linea aspera, which is formed from the lateral and the medial lip, forming the Linea aspera, and intercondylar fossa, the intercondylar fossa and the Linea aspera, and also the nutrient foramen for the supply of the nutrient artery to the medulla of the bone. That's how to know the posterior part. So this is the posterior part of the femur. Compared to the anterior, here is the patellar surface. Don't confuse it with the intercondylar fossa of the posterior part or posterior side. And when you come up here, you have the Linea aspera formed by the medial lip and the lateral lip joined together to form that. So you have to identify the so-called posterior part from the anterior. So posterior is back, this face behind, and here is front. The distal end have the patellar surface anteriorly and intercondylar fossa posteriorly. The posterior also have the popliteal surface, is triangular form. The popliteal surface is bordered by the lateral supracondylar line and the medial supracondylar line. The lateral supracondylar line, the popliteal surface, more like a triangle, which marks the posterior part of the femur. The head of the femur is medially located, and the trochanter is lateral. That's the greater trochanter. So on the other side of it, this should be the anterior view. We don't have the popliteal surface there. Close look at this. But here we have the lateral supracondylar line and the medial supracondylar line, which borders the popliteal surface, leading down to the intercondylar fossa in between the two condyles. Let's take a look at the special features or the unique features of the proximal head of the femur. Here is the head, here is the neck, then we have the greater trochanter, over here greater trochanter, here is the lesser trochanter. That's the intertrochanteric crest. That is, it links the lesser and the greater trochanter and is located on the posterior side of the proximal end of the femur. The anterior side of the proximal end have the intertrochanteric line and not crest. Closer look at the crest. This is the lesser trochanter, the greater trochanter. Then coming to the head of the femur, there is a special feature here. This is the fovea for ligament of head. Okay, for the attachment of ligament of head. So this is, here is the trochanteric fossa, just below the greater trochanter, the trochanteric fossa. Okay, this is posteriorly. If you turn it this way, this is anteriorly. Still the head, the neck, the lesser trochanter, then the greater trochanter. It's all over here. We have also the intertrochanteric line, and here should be the intertrochanteric crest for the posterior part. So let's see other features at the distal end of the femur posteriorly. Okay, here is the medial condyle. That's the side facing the head, but here is the lateral condyle. Then here is the medial epicondyle. That's close to the medial condyle, meaning condyle on top of another. That's a bit above. This is the main condyle, so this epicondyle, medially situated. The same thing is applicable. Here is the lateral condyle, then we have the lateral epicondyle. And there is another special feature. Here is the adductor tubercle. The adductor tubercle, which is closer to the medial epicondyle of the posterior distal head of the femur. So the head, let's go to the head. The head of the femur articulates with the acetabulum of the hip bone to form the ball and socket joint. This is the acetabulum, this is the head, which articulates to permit 360-degree movement, circumduction, even adduction and abduction. So that's the acetabulum, the head. This is the head of the femur, articulating with the acetabulum to form the ball and socket. So the ball is from the head of the femur, then the acetabulum forms the socket. So beneath the acetabulum, here from which we are seeing my finger move through, is the obturator foramen. Okay, we'll still come to that when we handle the hip bone in detail. But just know that the joint between the femur and the hip bone is ball and socket. This is what forms it. Each hip bone is made up of 3 bones fused together. This includes the ilium, ischium, and pubis. Right pubis, right ischium, left ilium, left pubis, and left ischium. The hip bones, together with the sacrum and the coccyx, forms the bony pelvis. The right cogs are isolated to show the ilium. The part colored green is the ilium. Ilium is the largest among the 3 bones in each of the coxa. You can see the parts contributed by the ilium in the acetabulum, isolating the bone to show the pubic bones. The pubic is the smallest among the 3. It also participates in the formation of the obturator groove and some other features. We will discuss this in detail. Isolating the ischium. Ischium is the second largest after the ilium, showing the portion formed in the acetabulum. These 3 bones meet in a point called the acetabulum, which forms the socket for the hip joint. Okay, so this is the iliac wing, the scala of ilium, or what we call the iliac fossa, over here. Then here is the greater sciatic notch. The greater sciatic notch. Down there is the ischial spine. Ischial spine. Then we have here the body of the ilium. Then we have this line called the arcuate line. The arcuate line, that's here. The arcuate line. Then we also have this spine here, known as anterior inferior iliac spine. Anterior inferior iliac spine. Then over there we have the anterior superior iliac spine. Anterior superior iliac spine. While here is the anterior inferior. This is inferior, this is superior. Then coming over this process, we have the intermediate zone. We have the intermediate zone, that's here, intermediate zone, and then the inner lip, which collectively makes the iliac crest. So this is showing the medial view. This is the medial view. You may take it all over again. Check this line here. This line is called the arcuate line. Arcuate line. Then the line, when it comes down here, we call it the let's try remembering, the pecten pubis. Pecten pubis. Then over here we have the symphysial surface. The symphysial surface, that's the surface that forms the pubic symphysis. Then we have a groove here. This groove is called obturator groove. The obturator nerve passes through this groove. And remember, this is the obturator foramen. This is the combination of the ramus of ischium and the inferior pubic ramus of the ischium, also called Ischiopubic ramus. And here should be the body of the ischium. Then we have the lesser sciatic notch, we told you, the lesser sciatic notch, and the ischial spine. Then coming here, we have the auricular surface for sacrum. The auricular surface for sacrum is here. Then when we come up here, we have the iliac tuberosity. The iliac tuberosity over here. Then we have the posterior superior iliac spine. The posterior superior iliac spine, while here is the posterior inferior iliac spine. Posterior iliac spine. And watch here, this is anterior superior iliac spine. Anterior iliac spine. Here is posterior superior iliac spine. Then here is still the posterior inferior. Then down here is anterior inferior iliac spine. So this, we are done with the medial view. We now take a look at the lateral view. The lateral view in this form. This remains the wing or the ala of the ilium. The ala of the ilium, that's the wing of the ilium. Then other features that are pronounced. From here we have the acetabulum, which is the socket inside which the head of the femur articulates. The acetabulum is actually formed by the 3 bones. the ilium here forms a part, then the pubis forms a part here, then the ischium forms a part here. So actually imaginary you have something like this for the ilium part, then the pubis part and the ischium part forms this socket. Okay, this is our ischial spine. The ischial spine is over here. Then we have the lesser sciatic notch still. The lesser sciatic notch. This is the ischial spine. I will show you when we are discussing the medial view. This is the ischial spine on the lateral view. Then here is the lesser sciatic notch. The lesser sciatic notch. Then we have the tuberosity from here. That's the ischial tuberosity. All the way here. Then we have the ramus of the ischium here. Then remember we talked about this on the medial view. Laterally, this will represent the posterior superior iliac spine. The posterior superior iliac spine. So that here will give us the posterior inferior iliac spine. Remember here also the anterior superior iliac spine, and here is also the anterior inferior iliac spine. We have the anterior superior iliac spine. The anterior superior iliac spine, it has attachments of ligament. The muscle here attaches here, the muscle that attaches here is the sartorius muscle, and